Will Bill Gates' divorce expose deep ties with Jeffrey Epstein? That's what we'll be talking about. On today's video, Epstein's seedy web of relationships keeps getting wider, and it looks like the latest victim of this widening web is the ultra-liberal financier Bill Gates. We're going to take a look at what a number of outlets are reporting, that Gates' divorce proceedings may indeed end up exposing a side of Gates' life that he's thus far kept hidden from the public, at the center of which is his bizarre relationship with convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein, and what it all means for the growing populist revolt against our depraved political class. You're not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Steve here with you. Great to be with you. As always, we are your daily fake news antidote. As each and every day, we provide patriotic analysis to help you to think better so you can feel better in these crazy and turbulent times. So if you haven't done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Before we dive in here, gang, a new invention has come into the market that is helping to relieve pain using nanotechnology. It's called Relax the Pain, and it uses nanotechnology patches to help relieve pain anywhere in your body within seconds. You simply stick the patch on the source of the pain, and it can subside the pain or aches in under 60 seconds. It's really pretty amazing stuff. And best of all, if you click on that link below today, you're going to get your patches at 33% off. But this is a limited time offer, so do not wait. Click on that link below right now or go to relaxthepain.com and get 33% off your order today. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. Vanity Fair is reporting that Bill Gates may be in serious hot water. As I'm sure you all know, Bill and Melinda are going through divorce proceedings that are ending their nearly 30 years of marriage. And Vanity Fair is reporting that the divorce proceedings may indeed end up exposing, shall we say, a rather non-flattering side of Bill Gates. It's being widely reported that Melinda Gates has been thinking divorce for some time, but it wasn't until Bill's ties with Jeffrey Epstein became public back in 2019 that she decided to hire lawyers and officially file divorce papers. And so now the obvious question that's starting to come to the fore is, how much will the divorce proceedings reveal about those concerns? What were the nature of concerns? And what in fact was the precise relationship between Bill and Jeffrey? Here's what we know thus far in terms of their relationship. Back in May of this year, the Wall Street Journal reported that Melinda Gates was supposedly concerned about Bill's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. This according to People and a former employee of their charity, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which, by the way, has helped to fund some of the most left-wing causes in the world. According to these sources, Melinda's concerns date back to as far as 2013, when both Bill and Melinda first met Epstein together. However, according to the New York Times, Bill reportedly met with Epstein multiple times in 2011, which, if you don't know, was just 3 years after his first conviction. So back in 2006, the Palm Beach, Florida police were informed by a mom of a young woman in West Palm Beach that her daughter had been brought to Epstein's mansion and propositioned to have sex for money, okay? So this is what ended up kicking off this extensive one-year undercover investigation where Florida police interviewed 17 witnesses, all who saw sex toys, paraphernalia in their mansion after underage girls had been there. There was a young woman who admitted that she was paid $200 for every teenage girl she successfully brought to Epstein to have sex with. Investigators tracked down 5 of his victims, each of whom admitted that they were paid between $200 and $300 to engage in various sex acts with Epstein. When police raided his mansion, they found, of course, tons of sexually explicit photographs of teenage girls and other horrors. But when the police chief presented all this evidence to Palm Beach County's Democratic prosecutor, a guy by the name of Barry Krischer, this Democrat prosecutor actually turned around and charged Epstein, I kid you not, he charged Epstein with 1 count of soliciting prostitution. This Democrat labeled these children prostitutes. And then he slapped Epstein on the wrist with probation. And so as a result, thank God for him, the police chief blew up. He wasn't having any of this. So he went to the feds. He went to the federal government. And so as a result of the federal investigation, which was led by the Republicans during the time, Epstein had to plead guilty to 2 state felony charges, which got him 2 years in prison. But we now know that Prince Andrew lobbied the U.S. government for a better plea deal for Epstein when he was first convicted for pedophilia, which he received. Democratic county prison officials in Florida placed Epstein in a private wing of a county jail and allowed him to spend 12 hours a day, 6 days a week in his mansion throughout his entire sentence. So we're seeing how the political class, the elite class, live according to their own rules. They make the laws that we all have to live under while they live above the law, which we'll get into in a moment. So it's right around this time that Bill Gates, according to the New York Times, is actually frequently visiting Epstein. In fact, the Times reported that Gates wrote an email to his colleagues saying of Epstein, quote, "His lifestyle is very different and kind of intriguing, although it would not work for me." Now, this was just after his first get-together with Epstein in 2011. Now, in fairness, a spokeswoman for Gates has clarified that he was referring, quote, "only to the unique decor of the Epstein residence and Epstein's habit of spontaneously bringing acquaintances to meet Mr. Gates." And so in no way was he referring to his seedy lifestyle, which, remember, was well known by this time. Similar criticisms have been lobbed against Oprah Winfrey and her relationship to the now disgraced ultra-liberal movie mogul Harvey Weinstein. Now, you definitely want to check out a video I did on the colossal fall of Oprah Winfrey, okay, where we cover a number of outlets like Variety magazine that reported on celebrities testifying that Oprah knew about Weinstein's predatory behavior towards women, and yet she covered it up. She tolerated it, all right? And yet then she has absolutely no problem, not the slightest hint of moral compunction, lecturing the rest of us on how we are all participants, either deliberately or inadvertently, in all kinds of social injustices. So we're seeing something comparable here with the ultra-left Bill Gates, right? His multi-billion-dollar charity funds, all things woke and leftist to the tunes of billions of dollars a year. And he was willingly hanging out with one of the most influential financiers who he knew had a penchant for horrifically seedy behavior. Again, according to the Wall Street Journal, Gates reportedly flew on Epstein's private plane in 2013 from Teterboro Airport, New Jersey to Palm Beach, Florida, visiting Epstein in his mansion that played such a large role in his alleged sex trafficking ring. And so that's what we know thus far about the relationship between Gates and Epstein. And the key here is that, according to Fox News, his wife Melinda told Bill that she was uncomfortable with this relationship with Epstein back in 2013, but Bill reportedly continued to have a relationship with Epstein despite those concerns. So now the question is whether their divorce proceedings are going to further expose the nature of these ties with Epstein. According to a report by Vanity Fair, the intense scrutiny that Bill Gates is going to have to inevitably face in divorce court could further expose not only his relationship with Epstein, but alleged multiple extramarital affairs, along with his reportedly inappropriate treatment of women under his employment. Vanity Fair reported that, according to two people familiar with the situation, someone in Melinda's circle worked with a private investigator who helped to uncover Bill's infidelities. One claim is that there were times during the workday when Bill would get into a golden brown Porsche and drive away, and there was just this assumption among all his co-workers there that he was with other women. I mean, he would go off to off-site meetings that weren't in his calendar, and where he would go, it was hardly secret to anyone. Now, keep in mind, he's one of the most intensely scheduled people on the planet, so he doesn't just shove off for nothing, right? And speaking of investigations, the New York Post is reporting that the top prosecutor in the U.S. Virgin Islands is seeking more than 20 years of flight logs from Jeffrey Epstein's fleet of planes and helicopters, including his private jet, the so-called Lolita Express, a move that's reportedly stirring up panic among many of the rich and famous. Attorney General Denise George has sued the convicted pedophile's estate, in turn subpoenaing logs for each of his 4 helicopters and 3 planes going back all the way to 1998, all the way up to, shall we say, rather untimely and convenient death in prison. The Attorney General is also seeking to collect any reports or complaints of what she calls potentially suspicious conduct reported by the pilots, as well as contact information for all those who interacted with or observed Epstein or any passengers connected to him. So obviously, this is promising to be a very thorough and rather exhaustive investigation to Epstein's inner circle. And we could already see how it's, shall we say, outing more associates of Epstein's than have up until now flown under the radar screen. And so obviously, we're going to have to see what comes of this with Bill Gates. But needless to say, the Gates divorce proceedings are further underscoring the deep divide that has been opening up between the people and our permanent political class. We are seeing more and more how the political class, the elite class, live according to their own rules. They make the laws that we all have to live under while they live above those laws. And this, to me, is what's ultimately so significant about the whole Jeffrey Epstein saga and its widening web of actors. What's so significant is that it underscores the radical discrepancy between the ruling class and the ruled, the political class and the people, a discrepancy which is currently fueling a worldwide populist revolt like we've never seen. So we will certainly keep our eyes on how things develop here, but I think we're safe to say that whatever does develop, it ain't going to be good for one of America's most liberal financiers. Now, before we go, you will definitely want to check out my latest video. I just uploaded on how Kamala Harris gets totally humiliated in Guatemala. We look at the protest signs that greeted her arrival, her awkward meeting with the conservative president there, and how Biden's poll numbers are just tanking 5 days in a row. You're not going to want to miss it. So make sure to click on the link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.